Are we ready?
Were you on good terms with the cast?
They never helped me with anything. Yeah, I was really disappointed too that we lost a lot of heart in our season 2 and 3.
So what do you want people to walk away from today knowing about you? We are so excited to introduce our guest today. Kevin Kredier is one of the stars from Netflix Bling Empire, the co-founder of ALLS Productions, and the co-founder and CEO of Sans, which is our drink of the month. So cheers to that, Kevin.
Cheers.
Welcome to the pod.
Welcome to the pod, Kevin.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So let's just get right into it. How did you bring in 2023?
How am I bringing it in? I brought it in with a flu and a couple family matters, so it hasn't been the most pleasant transition into 2023, but I like to consider the Chinese New Year actually the new year for me, so I still have 14 more days until the new year.
Okay, great. So there's time to turn it around.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Love it.
Okay, great. So we were telling everybody on social media that Sans is our drink of the month. And if I'm not mistaken, you just celebrated 7 years of sobriety.
Yeah, December 13th in 2022.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Congrats.
So we wanted to know what was your thought process in starting Sans and what motivated you to get into this field?
Yeah, what really motivated me about creating my own beverage company is that I actually looked at other beverage companies that were just launching. I was seeing like Kin, Hayo, all these other beverage companies that were for the non-alc and what they call like the sober curious movement. But what I didn't really like about that is that it felt very inauthentic. A lot of these brands, they were just trying to cash in on an opportunity. And so like a lot of people would say to me like, well, it sounds like you are too. And I'm like, yes and no. Like for instance, like if I'm a sober person and I want something that represents me, I want it to be authentic. And to me, the sober curious movement just seems like a way to just basically say like, this sounds like a cool category, but let's just see what happens. And I just felt like their stories, their brand ambassadors, people who represented these brands, they didn't exist. And so that's why I reached out to a bunch of these companies and to say, hey, look, you guys are missing something here. Like I have a story to tell. Like I believe in this space, but I think you guys are all bullshit, to be real. Like, it wasn't like, it just seemed like there was no real authenticity behind it. And so then I just never heard back from any of them, which was a nice way of rejection. So I said, let me just see what I can do on my own. And a lot of people don't realize this, but there's been nobody else with me. Like I know you said co-founder of Cajun Beverage, which is my company, but I'm actually the sole founder.
Wow.
I started this right from scratch, from the beginning, the concept, formulation, finding a co-packaging partner, finding very little investment money that I have right now, found the legal team, went in and out when it came to retailers, sales, everything, operations. Like I'm still doing a lot of it. I have a little bit of assistance with some of the work that I've been doing, but it's been solely on my shoulders. So to give credit to a co-founder is kind of not real either. Like I don't have a co-founder, it's just been me.
Right. Sorry, just to clarify, I thought you're the co-founder of ALLS Productions. That's what I was saying.
That's correct. So for Asian Lead Love Stories, I'm a co-founder, correct?
Okay, great. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that's another project of mine that I'd really like to see in the world. So there's a lot of underrepresented and untold stories of Asian Americans, especially Asian American lead. When it comes to romance or any type of rom-coms or dramas. And I just find that, there's a lot of us out there and nobody was booking me for a lot of these things, or if they were looking for Asians, they'd be Hapas, which are white people basically, who are just a little bit Asian. And I was like, well, I'm neither, I'm Asian, but I'm not Hapa. So I wanted to tell my own Asian lead love stories. And so that's why me and my girlfriend, Devon, created our own production set to be able to act and to write our own stories. So we're in the middle of treatment for our first project and releasing some shorts that we have to present our work as Asian talent. So I've always been underneath the belief of if no one's made it for you, you just build it yourself, and then hopefully maybe you'll attract the right people, or at least people know it's out there and get inspired by it. Then I can share about it like right now on this podcast so people know, like, yeah, Asian lead love stories are very underrepresented and not told. And so I just think that we have an opportunity there, and we're just going to do it ourselves.
That's awesome. We couldn't agree more, and I'm sure people would love to see more of you. Switching back to songs for a minute, I know a lot of people struggle to take the first step of living a sober life, and a lot of the questions we got for you was, what would be your advice for people who are looking to take the first step into a sober lifestyle?
Well, I know it's scary to to change your lifestyle, right? I mean, like, I remember the moment where I was able to be encountered by a lot of people who were sober. So it wasn't just one person in my life who opened the doors to sobriety to me. And the one thing that really stuck with me, that hit the nail in the coffin for me, was somebody once asked me, like, what if we could spare you the last 10 years of misery? And, I was like 32 at the time or something. And then I was like, yeah, that really resonates with me, because I don't want to spend the rest of my life struggling with alcohol, or feeling lonely or depressed without it, and feeling isolated if I'm not out and about with people. And so I know that fear of what it feels like to not know what's on the other side of things. So for instance, it's like, I only know a life with, like, at the time of, having drinks and socializing and having that liquid courage. When people told me, like, life is better on the other side, going through a 12-step program, getting sober, because I think that's the big key of it all. Like, I think there's more than just, and this is what my beverage company stands for. Like, we're not just about you getting sober, we're about you getting better. And so, like, 12 steps is a huge part of a lifestyle program that I practice on a daily. And I think a lot of people forget that just because you don't drink doesn't mean your life's going to get better. Like you have to do work. Like, there's a program, there's 12 steps, there's community. And that's the meat of it, like, not drinking is like probably like 1% of my life now at this point. 99% of it is 12 steps, and like getting better and just figuring out how to navigate my life as a sober person, and to make my life better, because it's on my responsibility to make my life better. Just because I stop drinking doesn't mean automatically your life is just going to get better. So I think that's another expectation that people have when they get sober, is like, oh, I'm just not going to drink and life will get better. It's like, no, that's just a little part of it. Like, if you think it's that easy, that I think everybody would have done it by now. Right. So, like, I encourage people to actually find something beyond than just like not drinking, or, having something in your hand that empowers you, or something that represents you. It's just part of it. My whole mission was to basically put people who don't drink on the forefront. And so people can see it and normalize people who don't drink. So whether you're drinking my beverage or you're drinking somebody else or a competitor, you don't feel awkward, because people know, like, oh yeah, we know the sober curious or sober lifestyle that's happening right now. And they don't alienate anybody because of that. So that was our whole mission.
Awesome. And so I know we have so many Bling Empire questions for you, but one thing we did want to know is, leading up to being on the show, if I'm not mistaken, you were living in LA already?
No, so what ended up happening is I lived in Philadelphia. I was trying to do my acting and modeling career back in the East Coast, and it was just failing. I just couldn't get a role. I was afraid to make the jump to move to LA for years, because I tried it before, it failed, moved to New York, failed. And I was just like super hopeless, I was just like, what am I going to do with my life? So then what ended up happening is I started to speak about Asian masculinity, which is a very unspoken topic back then in, 2018 or 17. This is before Crazy Rich Asians hit the market. And I was speaking about how the world doesn't see Asian men as masculine or sexually attractive because of the way stereotypes were portrayed in media and movies and TV shows, and the way girls even treated me in the past was exactly the way they thought of me from these stereotypes that we just saw. And it's not that we can avoid stereotypes, it's just that when all you see are these stereotypes, you believe that's what it is. You don't see other aspects of an Asian male's life, like, walking on a beach shirtless and being, like goo goo gaga over or something like that. You don't see that. And so that's what you need to kind of counterbalance those negative stereotypes that were happening for the Asian men consistently. So I spoke a lot about that and how it even affected my acting career, my modeling career, because I couldn't even get in the door because I was Asian alone. Like almost in no career path is it okay to be racist up front, but not really be considered racist because we're like, oh, we're just not looking for Asian guys, because they're not sexy or whatever. It's like, it's bullshit still racist, right? And so like, I think that when I spoke about that, it started this ripple effect and people started to kind of duplicate even some of the things that I was saying. And it got out there, which is cool. But I didn't know what to do with it, because I was like, yeah, it's great that I'm helping a bunch of people, helping a lot of Asian guys out there. But, I still got my whole career ahead of me and like things I want to do. So then from that, Guy Tang, who's another castmate, asked me to come out to LA to do a music video. And from that point, like I stayed there for a week because, we were shooting. I was getting to know LA a little bit better. And then in that time period, I met some of the cast that were my friends actually at the time. And they were just sharing about, their hopes and dreams and what they were doing. And, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna work on this, develop a show. We'd like you to be in it. I had no clue what it was or anything. So I was like, yeah, I'll stay longer. And then just staying longer just ended up like living there. And then one thing led to the next. And I just never left LA then.
Gotcha. Okay, great. Well, I know, Chris, you were going to shift us over to some Bling Empire questions. We got a ton of responses when people heard you were coming on.
Yeah, I think that you actually answered one of our questions in terms of how did you actually meet Kane and the rest of the cast. But I mean, if you have, if you wanted to elaborate any more on that, feel free.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would say like, I like to give credit where credit's due. It really wasn't Kane who introduced me to everybody. It's like, if anything, it was Kelly. But at the same time, like I met Kelly through even other mutual friends. It wasn't even like I met her just randomly, like on the street or at Guy Tang's casting. I actually knew Guy even before everybody, like years before. And then I introduced Guy to some of those new friends and stuff. So that's how the Bling Empire crew kind of formed. It wasn't just I mean, like there was a lot of people and moving parts in this. It's not just so black and white. Like it was just Kane and all his friends and stuff like that. There's a lot of it, but it wasn't all of it at all.
Yeah. I guess if we could rewind, for those who haven't actually seen the show yet, if you could give a description or an explanation of what it actually is. Of course, we've seen it, but
how would you
describe it in your words?
Yeah, I mean, like there's this magical, wonderful world of rich people that everybody loves to see and to see Asian culture as well. So you get to follow me at least in the first season. I don't know what happened in the second and third, but like the whole point was supposed to be the normal viewer, which is me, and you get to see and explore the world of this magic world of wealth and fun and parties and a little bit of drama at the same time. So that's kind of the show itself in a nutshell.
Very cool. And what did you do to celebrate the premiere, season 1? Did you guys do anything? Did you do a party?
That was during the middle of the lockdown. We literally launched in January during the lockdown of it. Like normally there would have been a little bit of a launch party to celebrate it, but we ended up just staying in our own apartments. I was in a studio alone, and Netflix just had a delivery, which was nice. It was really nice of them to do their best to help celebrate our launch of our first season. But yeah, I didn't do anything to celebrate it. There was nothing to celebrate because there was no going out. There was no nothing. And I think a lot of people forget that like when we shot season 1, that was not during the pandemic. When we shot season 2 and 3, things got a little wonky personality wise and everything because we shot in the middle of the pandemic. Like people forget, like when you shoot in the middle of the pandemic, like first of all, your minds aren't really there yet. You literally just spent a year and a half alone or just not in front of people or socializing for a long time. People were agitated. People were angry at each other. People were easily just angry, right? We were all angry about the whole situation of COVID lockdown. And then like just getting out there, like we couldn't even film because it was like all the restaurants were closed, like couldn't travel anywhere, like everything just sucked, you know? So like I think looking back on it now, it kind of reflects on season 2 or 3, the frustration you could just tell from all of us, like how we are just so limited with everything. And like, you know, we just got off like an amazing, like, you know, magical first season, no boundaries on anything. But then like to be told like you're constricted in this little bubble all of a sudden, it's like it's really tough. So yeah, we didn't even celebrate that. And so that's why when season 2 launched, they had a nice little launch party.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Whenever I look back and think back of the start of Corona, it's just a weird time. Just crazy to think
That's
that
what I
was.
mean. It's weird. And just imagine like all of a sudden it's like you come out of it and you're told, oh, we're starting to do production again to film. Oh, and by the way, now you're not the same person you were before. Like people know you. And oh, by the way, get out in public and start mingling again. It's like we haven't even talked or seen, we haven't even seen people for like a whole year. You know what I mean? It's like life's changed. People died, right? Some people got COVID. Some people, you know, found whatever in life, and just it was a very weird time.
Sure. So I think you kind of briefly mentioned, I was going to ask if you've watched all the episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I watch it. I mean, I try to get the viewer count up and stuff.
And what has been your biggest blessing since being cast on Bling Empire?
It's weird. It's like me and my girlfriend talk about it all the time. There's many blessings, don't get me wrong, but we feel still very adjacent to Hollywood and the whole benefits of like having a hit reality show or a hit TV show on Netflix. Like you're not quite seen as taken serious in the craft. Like, you know, like there weren't really any endorsements or sponsorship deals for anything. You know, it was really hard to like be taken serious as an actor then, even auditioning or getting roles and like direct bookings and stuff. It's like it's weird. It's like there's a blessing that you get to be in the game now at least, but it's like a curse because like you're not really in the game. It's almost like you get to hang out and be invited to these parties. People want to be seen with you, but you know, people want to use your like image and clout for like their own benefits. But then it's like, well, what do I get from that at the same time? Like that's it's fun, but it's not really like useful. It's not what I came here for to begin with. Like, you know, my whole purpose was to be an actor, to change those stereotypes of Asian males in media and TV, to be that romantic lead, that action hero, that drama, that guy who can bring drama, you know, and that's what I studied for so long. So it's like when I think of it that way, I'm like, you know, this was like cool, but it's like I need to get myself back on the path of like what I know I was here for. Like I wasn't here to look like I just hang out with rich people and like don't have any aspirations, which is kind of what the show did and portrayed me as, which I kind of wish they could have shown everything because like I thought it was pretty accurate in like my personality and stuff. But like what's not accurate is that they don't show all angles of me, my personality, like the drive that I always had. It always made it look like these people were helping me, but it's actually quite the opposite. They never helped me with anything.
Right. So are you on good terms with the cast as of now? I was going to ask you if you liked the way you were portrayed in the show. I guess you didn't.
No, I do, but I don't. Like, it's not accurate in the sense of like you know, like Mimi and Don. They never ended up investing in my company. You know, like people think that you know, oh, Kelly and Kane really got me all these opportunities, and that's not true. You know, like if anything, I always felt like I was the one that was being brought around for like, I don't know, just for entertainment purposes or something. But it was like, you know, I have so much more to bring than that. And I was like, you know, I've done TED Talks, been up on stage for 20 minutes just talking about my story and my story. It's like, you know, that takes talent and running my own personal training business for years. You know, that takes discipline, that takes, you know, some knowledge. I was very successful back then, made some career pivots, you know, I did a lot of failures, you know, started a matcha business that didn't really do very well, you know, to be decided for this beverage business. Like, you know, I'm a creative. Like I have so many different ideas that I've been writing and putting in place. And none of them is really taking off, but I keep trying. So it's like, uh, it's funny. It's like if only one person would give me a chance, then maybe. But it's like, yeah, my castmates, blink of an eye, could have changed my life. Could have invested $1 million into my company. They didn't do it. Some of them would rather just, obviously spend it on, other stuff. But it's like, look, it's not the responsibility to. It's just that I just think it's the reception of the outside people. They think that's what's happening for me. And I'm like, that's not true. I still have to hustle, go out, do these things. Like people ask me why I'm going to events and socializing with a lot of people. It's because it's because that's the name of the game. Like gotten opportunities just from going out, meeting people, developing good, trustworthy relationships with people. I don't have the privilege to have an agent that just books me jobs left and right, and if I did, it's like I still have to audition for this shit. Like it's not like it's just given to me. So I'm still working my ass off to try to make these opportunities worth it, I cannot say I'm a lazy person because I definitely not. Like, I mean, I'm up at 6:30 every morning getting to it, so it's like I just think the portrayal just doesn't fully accurately show that to me. They show the fun side of me. That's about it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. So another question here. Did you know Jesse and Sheree weren't returning for season 3, and are you still in touch with them? That was an interesting one.
No, I didn't know. I mean, I really thought they'd come back just to share their side of the story. Like, I did think it was over dramatized and kind of taken a little bit out of proportion. But yeah, I mean, if I see them at events, I'll say hi and stuff, but we don't really mingle with the same crowd anyway. I mean, their crowd is, that wealthy, affluent crowd. I'm not really in there, I'm kind of in the everyday, like, Asian American crowd. Like I'm still involved with, I still go to these nonprofits, these events that were out there to help uplift the Asian community. That was my crew before Bling Empire or anything. That's what I always wanted to do. And now like we get to celebrate because we've all grown in the meantime.
Do you guys mingle at all? Like every other month with each other? Like, are there any offline, off-air connections with the cast members?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, we're still in touch. Like, we might still have more to film and shoot and stuff like that. Like, life goes on. I have a girlfriend now, so it's not like I hang out that much anymore because, like, I'd rather just, stay at home if there's anything better to do. Then it's like I'd rather just stay focused and, rest or just, work on my businesses and stuff like that.
For sure. Did you ever have conversations with Kelly off camera for concerns about, her relationship with Andrew?
I mean, that's an ongoing thing. Obviously, you can't ever tell people what to do in relationships, and I got to tell you, I found that I'm pretty bad at it. Like I've had many opposite opinions about people's relationships, and most of the time I'm wrong. I'm like, oh, that's never going to work. Long distance isn't going to work. They get married. Who am I to say anything?
Gotcha. And I have to ask because at the end of season 3, my heart dropped when you got into the Tesla accident. I am very happy, obviously, that everybody is okay. But what happened? Like, are you driving again? Do you have another car? Like, I was devastated when I saw that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think it's scripted, but I'm like, why would I crash my own car? Like, don't be an idiot, guys. Like it's not like I think that's why it's like so frustrating to me sometimes because it's like a lot of people are like, oh yeah, Bling Empire is so over scripted, and I'm like, they even think my girlfriend's a paid actor to be in it. I'm like, that's ridiculous. Like we have so much history, but I realize people, the general public don't know. But I think that's, maybe they're not talking about my part in Bling Empire is scripted because I'm like, that's not, like I really have a family that has a car business out there. With or without the show, I was going to go out there and buy a car from my brother because like it was meaningful to me. Like he took over the car business for my dad. He's doing super well. And the way I wanted to connect with him again was to, and acknowledge his accomplishments was to buy a car, from him and his business. So when I went out there, it wasn't expected to crash my car. Like it was just, I find out later that it's a very normal thing, especially for electric cars, because it's like, there's a lot of new bells and whistles, gadgets. People don't pay attention as much. You got to get used to it. So it's not abnormal to get into some type of accident afterwards. But, the extent of the car crash, yeah, that kind of sucked. But I did not get a new one because there was a lot of different taxes and, the daily parking fees would have been astronomical for me. Like, I mean, the buildings that I live in, like $200 a month parking fees. And I'm just like, wow, but like, that's stupid. Like, why would I pay $200 a month to park a car? Like, that just seems like a total ripoff. And I was like doing the math in my head again. I was like, it's better that I don't have that car. I just had the money because, yeah, it would have been nice to have symbolized something, but it's like, it's an expense that I don't really need to carry over my head at this time.
Well, when we move to LA, we'll definitely come to your brother's car dealership and buy our cars.
Farther out from LA.
Oh, is it? I'll make the trip.
It's in Pennsylvania. It's in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, they were driving back.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll go to Pennsylvania.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to ask you, Kevin, is I was a little disappointed that Bling Empire didn't show more of this. How was it like meeting meeting some members of your extended biological family, and where are you in that journey? Are you still looking to find more relatives?
Yeah, I was really disappointed too that we lost a lot of heart in our season 2 and 3. I don't know who to point fingers on that one, because I know I brought a lot of it. Like even my mom, my brother, both came to LA, did their part. There were so many different things, but for some reason they decided not to play it. And I actually do think it was a mistake not to, because that's what Asian community wants. They want more family stuff, and I think the problem is the editors or editing cut it out in expense of the drama that they thought people wanted to see. But yet I kept, I really was adamant. I was like, that's not our crowd. If drama happens, it should be fun. It should be lighthearted. It should be something that makes people laugh because they're like, oh, that's ridiculous, not heavy and everything. Like, there were so many heartfelt moments that I've had with my family, talking to Korean adoptee consulates who are big. They're not consulates. That's the wrong word. People who are actually helping me out with my adopted journey. There were so many great moments and so many great stories, and like they cut it out. And I was just like, you guys are killing our show. Like I don't know what you were thinking. There's just like, so when people say it's like it became more inauthentic, I mean, I did my part. I did everything I could. I brought everything. And I was just very disappointed how little they showed of the really good parts,
For sure. Well, on a little bit of a lighter note, we had a little quick fire rapid game for you if you're up for it. Just 10 quick questions.
Alrighty. Are we ready?
Yep.
Alrighty. Optimist or pessimist?
More of an optimist.
Beach or pool?
Pool.
Vacation or staycation?
Staycation.
Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
Burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Stay in or go out?
Go out.
Dress up or dress down?
Dress down.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
In-person shopping or online shopping?
I don't shop.
That is it. That's awesome.
Well, we do need to wrap up, Kevin, but one thing I do want to ask you is, I'm trying to think how to word this. What do you want people to walk away from today's podcast with? I know that you weren't portrayed exactly, who you really are in the show, and you sound like you have so much going on. So what do you want people to walk away from today knowing about you?
I think just like what a lot of people want to be seen, which is they want all parts of themselves to be seen and heard. I'm not just somebody who is in shape, likes to take his shirt off and hang out with rich people. Like, if anything, it's weird. I had a resentment towards rich people for a long time, even while I was filming season 1 which I'm glad a lot of the interviews didn't air about when I talk about rich people and how ridiculous I thought it would be. It is that somebody's, wearing a $1.5 million necklace, which I say in front of these people, to these people, I was like, couldn't you have spent that money helping people? Like we have so much poverty, and like, even look at me, like I'm in poverty, but it's like, I could use help, I'm not asking for money. It's like, why don't you invest and like actually help accelerate or do something for other people that could, share the wealth or whatever, And I really held a big chip on my shoulder because I'm like, I think it was so. And I hate telling rich people how to spend their money because obviously they got it for some reason. But I did realize this: you don't have to be rich and smart. It's actually quite opposite. A lot of them are just got lucky, dumb luck, or it got handed down, just because you were born. So a lot of rich people didn't really earn it, to be real. There are some who do, and those people are usually generous and very, about spotting good businesses and stuff. But I just found a lot of the wealthy people to be, it almost felt shitty for them to flaunt it, and they knew how much I was struggling, and so that's what, I think a lot of people don't realize that it was hard at times to hang out and to see this. And yet, like, I have to not, Uber or skateboard or take the bus places. And yet it's people buy like $1,200 dinners, or, hard-earned money. Or like the worst part is when somebody who is just inherited a lot of money, doesn't really work, gets a consistent income from their parents or family, but then they want you to split the bills for really astronomical things. I mean, that sucks, that was hard to be around, to see the carelessness and some of that stuff. But look, I mean, to be real, like a lot of them didn't expect me to go to like super fancy steak restaurants all the time. They actually went to pretty decent places, So that I will say was nice to be in consideration, but it was still a hard pill to swallow, because I don't think they really understand what it's like to not have that and to struggle with like, finances. Like finances is the number one worry in people's lives, and for them not to have it is a privilege for them. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, I guess I would just be different. Like if I had all the money like that, I would really help other people out. It's like my friends and family who need a little bit of money to start up something, or like, I don't know. I just would have spent it differently. So it's like a lot of people don't know this side of me where I'm like, cool hanging out with them, but it's still hard at times,
Well, we have all the confidence that your career is going to skyrocket.
Oh,
We
yeah.
so appreciate you coming on and being so candid with us. And for everybody watching, we really recommend Sans. It's such a great beverage, and we hope you guys check them out.
Cheers.